Hey, how are you? It's me again. Um, I want to talk about guarding your mind. Um, this is something I could use a lot of practice in. And from my understanding, guarding your mind is something that you practice at. It's exactly that. You practice and you exercise it. And it's like faith. Faith works the same way. Faith is a muscle, and you need to work on it and exercise it and make it strong. So before you know it, you got faith like a mustard seed, and that's all you need. You don't need that much faith. All you need is a faith the size of a mustard seed, and you can command the mountain to be thrown into the sea, or the mulberry bush to be thrown into the sea, whichever one you prefer. Um, let's see. I'm gonna start off by I'm gonna be going over Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And what it says is it says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your request be made known unto God. And the peace of God which passeth all understanding shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. The New King James Version says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, everything I just said, you know. But that's the verse I'm going to be going over. That's a good way to guard your mind. You know, you prayed about the issue and just have faith that it's going to work out in the end. Faith and guarding your mind go hand in hand. So do faith and love. Anyway, I'm going to start off talking about a rat that I had in my house. I think I still got rats in the attic. I don't know. I'm hearing noises coming from the attic. But I'm going to talk about this rat, and it's going to ensue how I'm starting to guard my mind. But with the rat, it's funny because it started off very subtle. The rat started off very meek. It came in from under the kitchen, under the kitchen sink, I mean. And there was a hole and it wasn't that big, but the exterminator told me if the hole is about the size of your thumb, you can take your thumb and you can fit it into the hole, the rat can get in. Because they can dislocate their joints at will and squeeze themselves through any hole they want. And anyway, I was walking to the kitchen one night, and I was barefoot, and you can hear the jeans on my heels. You can hear them sliding on the floor, and the rat was hiding under the stove. You know, on the stove and the oven, there's that bottom shelf, the very, very bottom. There's that bottom shelf that you open, and that's how you light the pilot, through that shelf. Well, it was hiding under there, behind the oven. It got in through from behind the oven and into that shelf. Anyway, I was in the kitchen. I was walking, and I heard something come from under that shelf. And it was very faint. It was a very faint sound, but it was a distinct sound. And I stopped in my tracks, and I was like, what in the world was that? And before you know it, you know, I just kind of figured it was my feet sliding on the floor. So I paid it no mind. But then I think the next night or two later, you could hear stuff rattling under the kitchen sink. Stuff that only something can move. Only someone or something can move. Or like a creature of some sort can move around the stuff under the sink. At that point, I knew I had a rat under the sink. And the next night, it decided to show itself. It was in the dining room over there. in the dining room where the lights were off. And it just came out in the open little by little. It was like getting its feet wet with me, testing me out. And I decided to turn on the light because rats don't like the light. They like to creep around in the shadows and stuff and where it's dark. I decided to turn on the light. But this rat was starting to become really bold, and it came out in the light. It showed itself. I probably shouldn't have turned on the light because I got a real good look at it. A real good look at it. It was, golly, it was kind of depressing because I had a dirty, filthy animal in my house that could have given me some kind of disease if it bit me. Yeah, I was freaked out about the rat. Like, I had trouble sleeping because it's just a long story. You know, it was making noises and you could hear the thumping when it would run in the house. And I called the exterminator. They put out traps for it. And I went to Houston and, well, no, I went to my mom's house. And I prayed about the situation. I prayed about it and I caught the rat. I caught it in the trap and it died. Now I'm hearing stuff coming from the attic, you know, and so I prayed about that too. And just like Philippians 4, 6, and 7 say, you know, pray about it and don't get anxious about it. Just pray about it. Let me get the word. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, that your request be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. So just pray about it and be thankful, and do not be anxious. This is the King James Version. It says to be careful for nothing. But that's interesting that it says to be careful for nothing. Because I think that if you think about that word careful, you're always being careful and everything, that could lead to anxiety. You know, if you're always walking on eggshells and you're always trying to be careful, live your life in a careful way. And there's a lot of people who live their lives like that. And that could lead to anxiety. That could lead to having an anxious heart. And which is exactly what the New King James Version says. It says, be anxious for nothing. So, yeah, I prayed about it. And it's up to me to guard my mind, knowing that God's going to take care of the issue. And fear nothing. Psalm 27 is another good way to guard your mind. Because it talks about, if who before me, if God be for me, who shall be against me? Well, it talks about that in Romans 8, but Paul was quoting from Psalm 27 when he wrote that. Yeah, so that's how you guard your mind. You pray about it and you let it. Oh, and then I came back after having prayed back from Houston. Because I went to Houston after I killed the rat, thinking that there was another rat in here. Because I was hearing noises again. And I set out all these traps for the rat and stuff. And I went to Houston. And I was anxious, man. I was worrying. What if this happens? And what if this happens? What if I have a lot of rats in my house and it's too many for the traps and all these rats are going to be stuck in my house, and what if it smells, and then I have rats also, and just my mind was going crazy, and I prayed about it. And I decided to not turn on the light, just watch TV with the lamps on, but not turn on too much light. I like, that was my way of giving into faith. Giving into faith instead of giving into fear. I prayed about it. Now, why am I going to turn on the lights on, waste electricity and stuff? you know, that was my exercise in faith, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, once you pray about it, just let it go. Let God take care of it. And everything will work itself out. This is, what do you do to guard your mind? Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. Laters.